Well, Iranian authorities are declaring the end of the deadly unrest, but the opposition in Iran is not at all over. More than 20 protesters have been killed. At least 1,000 others have been arrested in street demonstrations across the country so far. It's Iran's largest uprising since the so-called Green Movement back in 2009. Joining us now from Washington, Prince Reza Pahlavi of Iran. He is the son of the Shah of Iran and is now a human rights activist. Prince, welcome to the Fox News Channel today.
Hello, Eric. Good to be with you again.
Of course. 7 months ago, as you just referred to, we had an interview, and I interviewed you, and you called for these very type of protests. You called for civil disobedience that you likened to the similar freedom movements like Lech Walesa in Poland, Nelson Mandela in South Africa, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the collapse of the Soviet Union. How can that same thing happen in Iran?
Well, it is in fact happening, and if you have observed carefully, you see that in most cases, the Iranians have been quite disciplined in avoiding any kind of violent behavior that would give a pretext for the regime to come and crack down on them even more. The reason why it is important to have a movement that is based on non-violent civil disobedience is because it doesn't give you a sense of an anarchic result or vengeance or any kind of settling of scores. What we need is a philosophy of national amnesty and reconciliation. One of the key factors, I think we talked about this last time we spoke, is the tacit role of the military and paramilitary forces. I sent a message to the military forces a few days ago asking them to realize their role in being on the side of the people as opposed to protect the regime. This exit strategy has to be provided, and again, nonviolence is yet another indication that people will welcome the military and paramilitary forces back into their arms so they can have a better chance of standing up to a regime that is using repression as a means to quiet people.
Do you think the military would really put their arms down? I mean, they're using them against the people, shooting demonstrators, according to the reports. And as we reported today, the regime is claiming victory.
First of all, I doubt that the military had anything to do with it. There might be some elements still of the Basij or the IRGC that may be doing that. But as of late, the regime has been importing foreign nationals to do the dirty job for them. They're not even Iranians. The point is that there will come a time where that shift will occur. We're doing everything that we can from our end, A, to maintain the momentum, to be of help to our fellow compatriots. The formation of a broad coalition of liberal, democratic, secular forces today is key. I'm working directly with leaders both inside and outside of Iran to provide this platform as early as possible, because the leadership now needs to take the country to the next level. As you can see, our compatriots are bravely standing and putting their lives on the line. Most of them are extremely young. They're like my children. And guess what? This is the first time in 4 decades that this generation is calling me father. So I really feel like I have that relationship with them. You know, these are our children, and we need to do everything that we can so they can fulfill their aspirations.
But you know, we were at this point before in 2009 during the Green Revolution, and President Obama at the time was criticized for not coming out at first strongly enough to support the protesters. President Trump has been very strong on that. What should the Trump administration, what should Americans do to, in your view, encourage this type of demonstrations?
America is perhaps the most important democratic country on the planet, which is natural why a lot of people have many expectations from America and whoever is at the leadership of this country at any time. I think America, hopefully with many of its democratic allies, would understand that as a matter of empowerment, it is critical to acknowledge the fact that today the demand of a nation that in its majority are quite clearly rejecting the entire system for the first time means that they need to have an opportunity for change. It's not going to be easy when you're dealing with a repressive regime. So any message of solidarity and support will be greatly useful and helpful and empowering and invigorating. Because as you know, when you're facing a totalitarian state, there are a lot of ebbs and flows in how long people can sustain protests or what have you.
So
but it
what
has
should
to
we do? What can we do?
Well, there are some areas. For instance, one of the key issues as of late was communications, so people can have massive communications. I'm talking about internet access. I'm talking about the filtering that the regime is trying to do. Some actions has been taken to that part. I hope that President Trump in particular will understand that the idea of the travel ban no longer makes sense. A lot of my compatriots need to be able to come and go, to be of help here and there. And basically, instead of punishing Iranian citizens who are on your side, you better think of limiting the traveling of the regime's elements rather than the Iranian people.
And how do you
These are specific steps that can be taken.
How do you think this will end?
Well, hopefully we'll end with the people winning. This is a country that has long demonstrated that its people want peace. They want to have regional stability and security, good relationships with their neighbors. They don't want to have our country or our governments interfere in other countries' affairs. And most importantly, people just want to have an opportunity for better life. But they understand today the necessity and the discourse of secular parliamentary democracy and secularism with separation of religions from state. It's a little bit like Europe after the Inquisition, when the period of enlightenment and liberalization. Yeah. Iran has gone through an Islamic Inquisition, and we hope that at the end we're coming out of the tunnel.
Now is the time. We're up against the clock. Prince Pahlavi, thank you so much.
Thank you,
We'll be
Eric.
right back.